What are you doing on the stage?
Good evening, guys, and welcome. Can I just warn everybody? Don't forget. I'll get sweets chucked at you. I won't say no. Um, Before I start with Mark Memphis is. He's a wonderful guy. Can I mention about Leroy? Leroy was about the Brixton murders. I don't know if you can remember that. He got 25 years in prison. Well, we're interviewing him on Wednesday at 9 o'clock, just to tell you that we're definitely interviewing him on Wednesday. So if you want to, don't forget to tune in. It's going to be really interesting. And he was inside for 25 years, and he came out and changed his life and everything. And that's going to be a good story. Anyway, thank you very much. Hello, Marcus. How are you?
I'm fine. Steve, how are you?
I'm all right. Yes.
Good.
Yes, it's a busy day. Been down the food bank with my dad, giving out food to everybody. When they turn up, and we got to do our community thing, haven't we? Help out in the community, and so anyway, I want to talk about addiction because everybody's got addiction. It could be either alcohol, drugs. It could be addiction to gambling. And can addiction be a problem?
Yeah. It can take over your life, Steve. It can it can pull you away from absolutely everything you hold dear. I'm not speaking from personal experience, fortunately, on this occasion, but yeah, I've seen it happen.
Yeah, it's like alcohol. Everybody's got addiction of alcohol, isn't they? And we got a friend at the moment. She's sitting at home on her sofa, and she's got a large glass of wine. She just messaged me now.
Yeah.
And the trouble is, sometimes I know that she's not addicted. She's not an alcoholic, but addiction can be really, really bad. It can make different kind of like problems in your life where you could be violent if you're drinking, if you have too much to drink, or you can kind of have lung problems, and it's like with everything, if you're addicted to something, it's difficult to get off.
Yeah, I mean, I think the harm that can occur when somebody's addicted to something, that's bad enough, and that can be destructive enough. I think the problem continues when that person is, shall we say, separated or cut off from the thing that they're addicted to. And that doesn't have to be drugs or alcohol. I've got a 12-year-old son who, if the Wi-Fi goes down for whatever reason and he's playing on his electronic games and he gets cut off and the Wi-Fi is going to be down for an hour or so, I've had problems where he's acting like he's going through cold turkey. It's shocking to watch. And so I think the actual withdrawal of something that you're addicted to can just be as destructive as the actual thing itself.
Yeah, and it's like what I used to do. I used to like comfort eats, and you can get addiction with food and everything, and that could be a problem too. I know a lot of people when I was doing my campaigning about food. A lot of people have died because it's been a problem to them, and through that, their walking was limited, or their health or their art. They had art attack, and addiction. Everything about addiction is a great big problem.
Yeah, it can be. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having, an interest or a passion for something, because, of course, again, addiction isn't necessarily restricted to alcohol, drugs, food, or the things which can be bad for you in excess. You can be addicted to, there's some people that are probably addicted to stamp collecting at the expense of all other things in their life. I was addicted to collecting books on Elvis Presley, believe it or not, on CDs. When I was working for a living, not singing. I'm talking.
Yeah, but is that a bad? But when you were doing that, did that kind of did any harm to your health, or was it?
No, it didn't. No. But what it did is, when I wasn't in a position to feed that habit of buying the latest book, because these books were really expensive. They weren't books you'd get in W.H. Smith's. These were like, limited edition runs, which were like, back then, 60 quid a go. So when the time came where I wasn't able to afford to buy the books, I had to be a bit more choosy about what I bought. I found that really, really hard to deal with. It almost was like cold turkey. It wasn't of any detriment to anybody, and things like my addiction to buying the expensive books or CD box sets, it wasn't at the expense of my family. I wasn't like taking food from my children's mouths by doing it. But I think that's the only thing really that I can say I've been addicted to. But I think I do have a bit of an addictive personality, because when I'm interested in something, I don't just like it, or I'm not just interested in it. I absolutely go for it, and I have to have every picture, every recording, every single thing to do with whatever it is, and I think that it keeps me going, and it keeps me motivated, and it gives me something to look forward to. But there is a very strong addictive element to the interests and the things that I like to do. I don't do things by half, and I think that's part of, as I've spoken before about this, I think I may have Asperger's, and that apparently is another another trait, shall we say, of that particular condition. You're very, very obsessive about certain things you're interested in. And like I say, I really push myself into what I'm doing. But yeah, I've rambled on a little bit there, but going back to your original point of, certain things can be very, very destructive, like the drinking, the drug taking, gambling, overeating, and all the rest of it. So,
yeah, I remember when I was around about 18, 18, when I used to go to the social clubs with my dad, and I used to kind of drink it all the time, and it got such to an habit, that I couldn't go without a drink for about, oh gosh, it was, I needed a drink, I needed something there. And when I was 18, and it was causing my family a problem, it was causing me a problem. And one day, I had to say, look, this is getting really bad, because I was married to somebody. I got married early when I was 18, and we fell in love. You know what happens when you're young? You fell in love. You want to marry them, don't you?
Yeah.
And anyway, I used to go out, and I used to go out and booze and everything. Come back, things used to happen, and it was my fault. So, and it was, and I had to go and get help. My partner said, you need to go and get help, and I went to this rehab and in Paynton in Devon, and while I was there, these people were looking at me thinking, well older than me, mind you, and they were saying, "Well, how can you be an alcoholic at your age? You know what you're doing here and all this lot." And I said, "Look,
Mm,
I've had a problem,
mm.
and gradually, now I don't even kind of touch a drink really. I've
How did
along
you how did you kick that then? How did you get yourself away from that addiction?
Well, I just kind of like come off of it. I had to come off it gradually.
Mm,
I did I kick it. I think my wife, um, my partner, kind of like made sure that I don't have anything in the house.
mm,
And money was left with my partner, so I didn't go out and spend anything.
mm.
And if I go out now, if I'm away on holiday, I might kind of like have a couple lager shandies, but that's all I'll drink. You
Mm.
know what I mean? I
Yeah,
used to drink a long time ago. I used to drink whiskey. Now, whiskey for me was my wife would tell you. I'm always honest. Whiskey made me angry. It made me kind of like the addiction of whiskey for me was really, really bad.
yeah,
And I used to pick fights with people.
mm,
You know what I mean? You only
yeah.
got to say hello, in a nice way, and I would have kind of like turned on you. You know what I mean?
So that was like a double-edged sword for you then, because it not only created problems in your relationship, your marriage, what have you, it also, and then also it'll have been bad for your health. And then a triple-edged sword actually, because then of course it affected your perception of what the world was, and if people couldn't say hello to you or wave to you without you wanting to lunge at them in
Mm.
anger or what have you. Yeah, isn't it
Mm.
weird though that all the things which are pleasurable in life, in moderation, are usually the things that people are addicted to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I never ever touched drugs though. I
Right.
used to have a friend who was a druggie, say.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to, he used to come up and say, "Can you lend me £10? I've got to go and get some drugs." I'm really thinking. I said, "No, no, I'm not feeding your habit. I'm not going to do it." I said,
Mm.
"I could help you if you need the help." And he said, "Okay." But then when I used to go to work, he used to steal from me,
Right.
and I'm trying to help him. And in the end, I used to come back, and he used to have a needle in his arm or something. And I said, "Look, if you're not going to get the help, then I have to tell you to. I'd have to take you somewhere where you get the help." So I
Mm.
dropped him off at the hospital. He had overdosed himself and he died. So
Mm.
it's I think these days, so with any addiction, though, Mark, is when people, when they are addicted, they hide certain things away. What's happened to it could be happened when they were younger, like abuse, or there was something traumatic in their life that is kind of like really bad. It could, so okay, but I don't think by taking drugs or alcohol is the way um, say that you've got a problem.
No.
Because if you're, the trouble is though, see, if you're kind of like wanting to kind of sort that problem out, the trouble is all what you're doing, you're putting a plaster on after plaster.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, it's like these addictions in that instance are either a cloak to try and conceal something from yourself, i.e., if you're drinking to forget or you're taking drugs to forget either the past or the present, whatever it is, if you're trying to keep something at bay. And then some people use it as a crutch to function, to you know, to get up in the morning, to get
Mm.
through the next 12, 14 hours of being awake and then to go to sleep. And it's shocking, really, the dependency and the reasons for it. Very, very, very tragic.
Mm. Yeah. But see, but then on the flip side of it, I understand when people need drugs like medication.
Mm.
I'm on like 9 tablets a day. And some people are on more. You know
Mm.
what I mean? But the trouble is, I can understand that side of it. But on the side where they going to spend all their money on drugs just for a fix to
Yeah.
get by for the following day, then that makes me a bit mad, say, because
Yeah.
I just think looking at my life now, what I've been through, I think there's always a way out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But for some people,
because there's two consequences, which again, it impacts on your health. Which, if you weren't in relationships with people, if you were just some drug user living in some squalid flat in Birmingham or what have you, and the only person you met throughout the month was your dealer every week, well, the only person you're going to really hurt is yourself. It's ultimately going to impact on your health. And then, of course, for the rest of us who are in more conventional setups, it's the damage that we're doing to our relationships and the people that love us and care for us.
oh yeah, of course.
What they're more of a victim than the actual person that's sliding down a very, very tricky path to self-destruction.
Yeah,
well, people have been, I think addiction's a part of life, and I think it's a human flaw, and I think it's probably something that's inbuilt in all of us, because the things which are dangerous, drink and too much food, for example, take drugs out of it, because I'd like to think that most people are of the same view that you and I are, because I've never taken drugs. I've smoked on a spliff twice in my life, just twice. Did nothing for me, gave me the worst throat irritation that I've ever had in my life. I've never ever taken any pills. I've never sniffed anything. I've never injected anything. The whole thing doesn't interest me, and it scares me, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah.
But going back to things like drinking and overeating, because I'm a little guilty of that. I've used food to self-medicate and to comfort myself when I've been feeling a bit down, or when things haven't been going so right. I think, well, I'll have that bag of Doritos that's in the cupboard, and I'll sit and watch Clint Eastwood or something, and I'll think nothing of it because it's making me happy for an hour and a half. But then I might have had a difficult night the following night, and I might have had another bag of Doritos in there, and before you know it, you become, that becomes like your crutch for getting through the day. But it's stepping over that line between something which is okay in moderation and makes you happy, i.e., it's when the treat stops being a treat and it becomes the norm. And I think it's recognizing when you're crossing that path or when you're approaching that path. I think that's the key to it. Because, like I say, we're all human beings, and I think you are going to be addicted to the things which make you feel good, which bring you some joy or pleasure.
Yeah, I was said about Doritos. Gosh, I remember when Michelle would tell you, she used to get me jar by jar of it, and I used to sit in front of the telly. I got my Doritos, I got the sauce. The sauce
Yeah.
you should dip it in and everything. And now I haven't had that for a long time, and I'd rather have a tray of mussels or a jar of mussels.
Right.
I love seafood, and that's my replacement. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, it was like when I was younger, when my children were very, very small. I'm talking about about 20 odd years ago, and couldn't afford to go out. And I used to go to the off license, and so I'd have some cans of lager in for Friday night and Saturday night, and maybe a couple for Sunday, because that was like my end of the working week treat. I couldn't afford to go out, so I was going to have the next best thing, and I was going to have drinks at home. And then 4 cans on a Saturday wasn't enough, so I bought another 4 cans so I could have 6 cans on a Saturday. And then before I knew it, I was buying more beer because I wanted the weekend to start earlier. So I was having a can or 2 on a Thursday night. Now, I wouldn't say I was addicted to alcohol or anything like that. And then it didn't take very long for me to think, hang on, what's going on here? And I backed off very, very quickly, and I had no withdrawal symptoms or anything like that. But that would have been a very, very easy thing for me to slip into, because the whole thing of enjoying a can or 2 at home on a weekend night became a regular thing, and it became part of my life. And I don't even know where that line was when I crossed it. It was only when I was in the off license. I thought, what am I doing? So it's very, very easy.
You drink a lot now, Mark?
No.
Not after parties, when you have your after parties.
Oh, my after parties, yes, that was a pleasurable time. No, I have. I don't have anything. I don't have any cans of beer in the fridge. Strangely enough, I've got a few bottles of whiskey in the house, which were one bottle was a birthday present, which I've not even opened yet, and the other one was a bottle of apple flavored Jack Daniels, which my son's got for me for Father's Day a couple of months ago, and I've probably had about half of that. I'll have a glass maybe on a Friday night. So I've got drink in the house, but I don't feel the need to reach for it. I'd rather have water, or I'd rather have Diet Coke. I will drink when I do a gig, only because I don't drive yet. When I pass my test, hopefully at the end of the year, I'll have to have a plan B. I won't be able to drink at all. But normally a drink before I start, it kind of grounds me a little bit, because although I don't suffer from stage fright or anything like that, I never have, I can get quite hyper about getting up on a stage and singing. It's because it's quite an unreal thing to do, and sometimes I need to just.
I'm looking at Beth's note here, and I'll show you the note.
Right, that's a bit small on my screen. Yeah, I mean, that quite possibly ties back to what we were saying earlier on about people's, reliances on certain things. Is it a cloak? Is it something they're hiding? Is it a crutch? Is it to compensate for something? And it's quite possible that the level of addiction that what you have and the thing you're addicted to is quite possibly a blaring torchlight against a flaw that you have, or a problem that you have, with your personality or your character. Something else.
Oh, I know.
Just a bit. All right, so there you go. You see.
Yeah, she's at home now, drinking a bottle of wine.
Watching Dirty Harry.
Yes, watching Dirty Harry.
Gorging on chilly heat waves.
I know, and Jaffa cakes, I reckon.
Jaffa cakes.
Yes, do you like Jaffa cakes?
Yes, I do.
Oh.
Now, is a Jaffa cake a cake or a biscuit, Steve?
Biscuit.
Let me see if you've got this right. Yes, you have, because it goes hard when it goes slightly off. That's the difference.
A Jaffa cake is a Mexican wearing his hat.
Let me just search within my soul for what it is you're trying to tell me here. Come on, Steve.
Sorry, I can't tell you on here. I've got to.
Oh, right. Okay. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. It is a cake, yeah.
Yeah, it's a cake too. See, I do. People do come in and tell me things.
Well, biscuits go soft and cakes go hard when they've been left out too long. And that's your measure in. Anyway.
Did you know when I first got married to my wife now? On my wedding day, I was taken to the hospital. To have no cake.
Right.
And when we got back, we had a couple of slices of cake, didn't we? Yeah, we had 2 slices of cake, and the other cake went. We had a little bit of food, nothing. And I spent my wedding day in hospital.
Can we ask why?
Well, because the trouble is my lungs. I had a clot in my lungs.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Was that an unexpected thing that happened on your wedding day? It was just like an attack. Yeah. Oh god.
Yeah, I had an attack because I looked at the person I was marrying and I thought, oh gosh, marrying her.
Yeah.
No, I'm only joking. But no, but I did. I went into hospital because I had a blood clot on my lung. And the trouble is, there was a certain medication they were giving me, and this is all part of addiction.
Yeah.
And they were giving me this medication. I kept on asking for it, because it was taking the pain away. And they said, we can't keep giving it to you because you get addicted to it.
Mm.
And I looked at it and I thought to myself, well, a person on drugs can get this on prescription, but they can't give it to me to ease my pain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I haven't got a clue about it. But with addiction, it's so difficult because at the end of the day, a lot of people will kind of either want to get help and sort the problem out, or they just rather kind of like just completely ignore the help. I know someone who's homeless, a few people's homeless in London, right, sleeping on the streets right now. They've been offered property, and because they were alcoholic, and they were given a nice flat and everything, but because they choose the streets because they lived on it for around about 17 years. So it's all about addiction and everything else like that.
Well, yeah, it's like I think when we've spoken before about depression and people asking for help and getting out of depression, I'd like to think that the sizable majority of people who are in that position do want to get out of it. No one wants to feel like that, surely.
Oh, no.
But I think there are some people that wallow in it and they absolutely thrive on that level of melancholy or sadness even. That's almost a bit like the homeless person you've just spoken about there. It's almost like it's what they know, it's what they feel comfortable with, it's familiar to them. Oh, look who's there.
Yes, Mel.
Yeah. It becomes a problem when you have about 4 wardrobes full of shoes and you don't wear any of them, and then you spend about 2 days deciding what shoes you're going to wear to go to the monkey pub.
I don't think you should put up with that, Mel.
I'm fighting fire with fire, Steve.
Yes. Don't worry about it, Mel. I love you. Don't worry. If he doesn't love you, I'll give you my address. I love you, Mel. Don't worry. But
gone
anyway,
now.
but no, I'm only joking. But the trouble is, though, right? All I can say, I've got to finish off. But the trouble is, with addiction or anything that we're going through, it's really, really tough. I do agree. But there is help out there, and all you got to do is just ask for it.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Totally agree. Addiction is just an extension of enjoying things. It becomes an excess. I think it's important to try and recognise when you are crossing the line into addiction, although I recognise that isn't particularly easy. But I do think that addiction is part of the human psychology, the human makeup. There you go. You see, all these ladies, they have multiple wardrobes. How many wardrobes does Mrs. Beer have, Steve?
2.
And are they full of shoes?
Well, it's one that I lock her in, and the other one's for clothes. Well, okay, guys, thank you very much for joining me tonight. And thanks for Mark, thanks for Mel, thanks for Tony, thanks for, oh gosh, we had quite a lot of people on tonight. And thank you so much. Thank you, Mel. I hope he marries you very soon. Hello, Beth. Thank you, Beth. And thank you, everybody else, for joining me. I'm going to be back in about 2 minutes with another guest. In the meantime, thank you and stay cool. Hey,
see you in 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
The fingers are the right way around, Steve.
I'll see you in 2 weeks.
You will.
Stay cool.
I'll try.
Mel,
oh, God.
I think he's going to ask you. Okay? He loves you. He does. See you later.
Bye.